Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is the Free eBooks eBook Cafe, Books Cafe. The name will probably change a lot over the next couple months as we sort of figure it all out. I'm Scott Patton, your host. Joining me is Free eBooks CEO Warren Whitlock. Hey Warren, how you doing?
That's me.
This is our inaugural Free eBooks show. It's going to be a podcast. It's going to be up on our Facebook page. We're streaming live to Facebook and YouTube as we speak. If you have any questions, there's a comment section, put it in. I'll see them and I'll ask Warren those questions and he'll answer them on your behalf. All right. So Warren, let's start off first of all, just tell everybody a little bit about Free eBooks. And you're the CEO, so tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, yes. I'm not CEO of Free eBooks, CEO of a company that owns Free eBooks, but yeah, I'm a publisher there, I guess you'd say. And what we have is a large collection of free books you can download and enjoy. Go to free-ebooks.net, download, log in, download. We got a library to keep them in, and enjoy.
Awesome. All right, and yeah, it's pretty nice because there's, how many books are there? Like 40,000 books?
I don't keep up with the exact number. There are too many for you to read in one lifetime.
That's right.
We know there's plenty.
And the purpose of doing it is, first of all, to offer a kind of a library service to everybody at Free eBooks for you to read. But also, one of the problems that we found with authors is if you're not already famous and you don't already have mega audiences, then the big publishers aren't interested in talking to you. So we thought this would be a great way to support our authors, support writers, give them a platform where they were able to access some of the 2.5 million members that we have on our site, and create a community so that eventually they can go to the big publishers and say, well, 20,000 people love my book, my science fiction book, my romance book, my business book, and move forward. So this is really, being of service to the author community.
It can be used that way, of course. Readers, we go for getting the readers and satisfying them. Readers want to hear from authors, so it's just it's a no-brainer that it's a place for authors to talk to readers. You get that many of them,
right? And speaking of authors, you've authored a number of books, Warren, including The Twitter Revolution: How Social Media and Mobile Marketing Are Changing the Way We Do Business.
Right.
And so how has this social revolution changed how authors get word out about their books?
Well, good question. That's actually why I wrote the Twitter book. Was I was promoting others' books at the time, and I saw Twitter come along, and I go like, this is going to be big along with social media. So back in 2008, I decided, hey, maybe Twitter's a topic we could do. Did an Amazon search and found out there were no books about Twitter, and so we wrote one. We got carried away. It's 275 pages on how to use a microblogging platform, but no, we were carrying on about what the mobile and social media revolution was going to be, and it's held up pretty good. Actually, I tell people to read the book now. You see some famous people that were quoted as less famous back then. I certainly wasn't very well known, and we talked about the implications of being able to have this global instant communication. And as an author, as a business person, as anybody who cares about the rest of the world, having the opportunity to connect with like-minded people is just, it's changed the world. I mean, what can I say? The book focused on Twitter because of that little thing I told you about, wanting to be able to get the first book about Twitter out. But really about social media, what we found was it's what people want to do. They just do it a lot faster. Today, we think nothing of taking a picture and sending it over our phones, and being able to order food or whatever we want and have it arrive at the doorstep. And so that's a completely different change. So an author who thinks that they're going to write a book and send it to a traditional publisher, get paid for writing it, and make a good living off of that, it's the odds of like getting to play for major league sports or getting a job as an actor and becoming a famous movie star. It's really stacked against you making that work. That was true before social media. What most of the teaching I was doing back in that time, about 15 years ago, 2005 or 7, we were teaching people to take control of the process, whether they had a publisher or not. The publishers had stopped worrying about helping a young author be discovered, and what they were instead doing was, trying to find the best sure thing. Well, when social media came along, being that sure thing for the publisher became a whole lot easier. I've seen many an author go to a publisher and say, "I've got 50,000 people who follow me who have been encouraging me as I write the book. Are you interested in taking a look at it?" The other thing is it gets a much faster process. Instead of writing a manuscript and like in the movies, it's a pile of papers that there's one copy and it could be lost, and that you send it off to the New York City publisher and hope and wait for the rejection and maybe in our lifetimes more likely had a photocopied edition of it. But now everything's on the WordPress or instant. You can write a book very fast. Especially, I focused on nonfiction. Write those books relatively fast unless it's a compilation of your life's work and you're citing a lot of studies and reference books. But if you're an expert on something, writing about what you're doing, you really can get a book out fast. That's what we were doing with Twitter Revolution. And one of the ways to do that is to build a community. So write something short, turn it into an ebook, give it away, get your name known, establish your platform. And once you do, you can go to the publishing route, or you might find that you can do better by just addressing those fans yourself. Eliminate the middleman.
I guess that's the other thing that sort of happened with this revolution that we've got, and with Amazon and a few other self-publishers that are out there, is you could now actually just write your book and then people can order it on demand, or you can have it electronically and they can just buy it, download it, and read it on their iPad or their Kindle, sure, whatever the thing is called, right?
Well, let's make it simple. If you open up a blog, which is free in many places, and you start posting entries, or you post entries on a Facebook page, and you write part of it and put it out there. You still have the copyright because you wrote it. I'm not a lawyer, nor do I play one on the internet, but so it's not legal advice. But pretty sure in most of the world you're not losing any rights to what you wrote. And share with people, and they'll give you feedback. Somebody might come along and say, this would work a lot better if you included, a conflict between a father and son. I just saw that in a TV show. Big video game developer, and they come up with this unique idea that conflict between a father and son, and in the end, the son has to face the father in battle and then unmask him and finds out finally that it is his father. And everybody that heard it said, "Oh, you mean Star Wars?"
Yeah, right.
Going to include it in the game. But there are some epic things that help that. As I watched that, I kept saying the old guy who had never heard of Star Wars, which is pretty odd. I kept thinking how this guy had this wisdom of character development, and he got that by having been doing it for decades. Obviously didn't know everything, and this was for comedy, but there's a lot of people out there who have done a lot of things. If you're having trouble with ideas for writing, there's other writers that will talk to you about it. If you get writer's block, there are, just on Facebook alone, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of other authors to talk to. And there is a group, no matter what your subject is, if it's, taxidermy on penguins, is going to be your topic, there is a group of them someplace. I defy you to not find one.
That's right.
Made that up. So if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below.
That's right. And if you if you're enjoying us, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any. Hit the little bell so if you're on YouTube, so you don't miss any of our episodes. We're going to be coming every Thursday morning Eastern time, and we'd really appreciate those likes and shares, subscribes. If you've got a question for Warren, make sure that you put it into the comments. I'll see them and I'll ask him. And Warren, as you were talking about the feedback that you can get from your audience as you're building up or writing your book, you reminded me of an author Canadian author who was a comedy writer, but nobody would publish his book. So what he decided to do was actually do a podcast, and he would just record a chapter. He would read a chapter and then he would put it on his podcast. And it was the feedback that he was getting from his listeners that kept him going, because he basically would have just, well, I've written this book. I can't get it out. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes it because the publisher is everybody, right? And, but his audience loved the podcast, and they encouraged him and encouraged him and encouraged him. And he grew such a large podcast audience that the publisher just said, okay, all right, we'll publish it and see what happens. But you can't do this podcast to chapter thing anymore for any new books. And he said, no, I'm not going to stop because I've grown this audience. They're loyal to me. I'm loyal to them. So then the publisher said, okay, you can't record and publish the last chapter until after the book is published and in the bookstores and live. How about that? Okay. And that's what he did. So he won 3 Stephen Leacock Awards, which are basically the book publishing comedy awards of Canada, 3 or 4 years in a row. I don't know if it was 3 years in a row or 3 out of 4 years. And it has become this really, really well-known Canadian author who, goes around and he'll read his book and meet people and everything else. But it was the social media that supported him through the hard times, right? When it was easy to quit, easy to say nobody likes my book and everything else. And like you were saying, they would also give him feedback or suggestions, and he would end up incorporating some of those. And we have our very first comment. It's from Kenya. Stan, good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the show. I actually met Stan when I was in Kenya, in Mombasa. So that's awesome to see you.
Shout out to Mombasa.
That's right. My goal is to get back there next year, Stan. So we're going to go have coffee again. So what about mobile marketing? We don't hear so much about mobile marketing. I don't, because everyone's got a phone. They have a certain set of.
That's the thing. We used to talk about mobile marketing. We used to talk about special apps for the phone. And today, there's no website you can't get on your on your phone. I know a few people out there that use their iPad like a phone. So yes. And it's the same thing. And I've been saying, gosh, at least since before I wrote the books, that the future was going to be a screen could be anywhere. I saw demos back in, must have been early 90s, might have even been the 80s, where they were showing that in the future the whole wall would be a TV. And, that's what we have now. I have a 65-inch TV in my bedroom. There's some days I don't say that with pride. Most of the time it's like, oh, that dang thing, the TV's never off. But that's my wife's instruction was I want a TV on every wall. We're far from that, but we want the ability to put a screen wherever we need. And think about it, with projectors now for less than the price of a television, you could project on any wall. It might not be really practical yet, but it will be. Back when I first saw, that was early 80s, I saw a demonstration. The first time I saw what a flat panel TV would look, and I'm going like, but where's the electronics? It was, it was only like 3 inches deep. And it was a demo about how in the future you could plug your game cartridge right into this big TV and then then play it. And I'm going like, well, that's kind of far-fetched. Don't you want don't you want to be up close when you're working on playing a video game? I was wrong. We play video games on big screen TVs now. And that's on one end. On the other end, it can be as small as you need it to be. But currently looking at not using a jumbo phone and switching to a smaller one, and pretty much decided against it. I'm old and infirm with eyesight, so decided not to do that. But yeah, it doesn't matter what size the screen is. Even the iPhone came out with just one screen and then changed that, limited screen sizes just a few years later. And so talking about mobile being different is just kind of silly. The apps. The other thing is apps are so crazy that we're getting, just appless is what the future OS is going to be. Right now, you can download the free ebooks app and access books there. But we're finding that majority of the mobile users we get are just using the browser to get to our website. So that, basically we stopped worrying about something being mobile. But marketing as if that's not happening is just crazy. If you expect your users to see your old blog that hasn't been reformatted, there's the code for it is called responsive. If your blog, website, social media app, whatever you're doing is not responsive, which means it adjusts itself for the screen, you're just dead today. I mean, Google won't index you. You're just not there. And so thanks to responsive, we can do things that I can technically tell you why it's impossible from my study of broadcasting electronics back in the 70s to have picture in picture or be able to size something. And boy, we've blown that away. Digital made it possible so that we can just view anything we want on any screen. So mobile schmobile.
All right. Well, if you have any questions about publishing, about writing a book, marketing a book, this is going to be the place to come. And feel free to ask the questions, and I'll pass them on to our guest, Warren. And Warren, one of the things I was wondering about, we might have a question. Oh, thanks, Bella. Bella says, good job.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate that. What would your advice be for someone who's just starting out, saying, okay, I really want to write a book. I've got this great story in me that I want to share. And what's the next step?
Period. That's it. Start with your community. Do not hesitate. Announce on your Facebook page that you are going to write a book, and then stick to it. Of course, that's good motivation. But the reason is there are people out there that will help you in unbelievable ways just by getting a comment. On my Twitter feed, I talk to people in Kenya all the time. I haven't been to Kenya, and it's not because my work has reached there and it's so great. It's just people that ask the question, and this old white guy from U.S. answers the question, and we're in a conversation. It's that simple. And so you find I find wisdom from all over the place. That I wouldn't have if I didn't have that connection online. Just been through quarantine here. I don't know about you all, but today as we record this is I'm no longer in quarantine, but I'm doing what I do most of the time is sit in a room and talk at the computer. We weren't able to get out much, and people kept asking me, well, how's that been for you? I'm going like, well, not that much different. Scott's always off someplace traveling the world. And when I talk to him, the chances of it being anywhere near the same continent are, less than 50-50. So it doesn't matter. I now, talk to my grandchildren that live less than 2 miles away, and I see them all the time, but almost every day, the 2-year-old thinks she's got to have a call with grandma. And so we talk to, yes, occasionally I get to talk, but I must confess, those calls are not directed to me. So I get in on the calls and I see a 2-year-old using this technology as if it's just normal to, like wanting to see somebody across the room. So start connecting with people. And the more you connect with people, the more you'll learn and the more you'll be motivated to continue. But also you'll be able to sell that, as we were talking about before. Somebody with a YouTube following, with a Twitter following, with a Facebook following, anybody that's blogging, you have a following. And as you go back to the traditional world, they're in awe. TV shows are based on Twitter feeds now, which is like, unbelievable to me, but certainly more developed things like people producing YouTube videos. There are people trying to get their break in Hollywood that are producing YouTube videos. And there are influencers, the people with the huge Instagram following, where the pretty girl wears the right, shows you how to do makeup, or that she's not pretty till she puts on makeup. I don't know which of those it is, because I don't follow those things. But my wife seems to be obsessed with watching how to take care of hair. And I'm thinking, like, you've been on the planet 6 decades. Don't you know how to brush your hair yet? But apparently not. Or apparently she's looking for something that might help me. So, but any topic, anything you are expert at, anything you care about, characters you want to develop for your fiction, whatever it is, put them up there and let people pick at it. Most people are going to be supportive. Get away from the haters, and then just learn and grow. And then you have a platform, and a platform means what you have outside of the book. And so day one, start doing that. Register for an account at free-ebooks.net, in case you can't see it right below me, and sign up as an author, and state to the world that's who you are. And we'll be we're planning on some new things to make it easier for authors to get attention there, and take advantage of those, get known, and join a writers group, join a book marketing group, whatever it takes. If you want to get paid to write, then start writing short stuff and get into the habit of, I'm going to sit down, create something, and get paid for it. And you don't have to limit it to just text, and you can do video,
Yeah, awesome. So we have a couple questions. Jacqueline asks, where are the free ebooks? And they are at www.free-ebooks.net. And Wanda answered too and said, they send you a list of a few ebooks every week. You can get 5 per month free. That's right. And if you have the VIP, it's unlimited.
Right.
Awesome, Wanda. Thank you very much for that. And Stan Hughes calls me the elder nomad. Thank you very much for that comment, Stan. And we're looking forward to doing this every week with you. And this is one of the platforms that we want to take advantage of as we grow the authors, our community of authors on free ebooks, and our community of readers on free ebooks. And if you have anything, any suggestions for types of books that maybe we don't have, or more things that you'd like, let us know. And if you've got any comments or questions, please make sure you ask them, and like, share, and subscribe. And so we've come to the end of our time together for today. Warren, you gave some really good advice in terms of a new author starting up. Any advice or any not last minute tips, but tips before we sign off?
Sure. If you don't have anybody else to talk to, tweet me at Warren Whitlock. I read everything, and I'd love to hear from you. And I'm sure I'll get notice of the comments here, whatever. I'm here. I'm willing to talk to anybody about anything, with the exception of money in a paper bag. I don't do that.
Awesome.
Except money in a paper bag, but so far there's been no one offering.
Thank you very much, Warren. Appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to spend it with us. And I'm Scott Patton, your host, and this has been the Books Cafe. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.